Hey there, East Tennessee. We have a bit of a busy night ahead of us as we get into the early hours of your Sunday morning. What's going to start as rain will eventually turn into snow for those of you in those higher elevations, specifically in the mountains and a bit of the foothills as well. But temperatures for the rest of the night are going to slowly be making a decline through the 40s, possibly down even into the upper 30s as we get into the nighttime. So let's just break down the whole forecast. Now, right now, what we're about to see is this low pressure system coming out of the deep south in the Gulf area, bringing a pocket of cold air along with it. And this cold pocket is going to be what makes it possible for us to see that snowfall as we get into your Sunday morning, kind of leveling up and tying in with some of the temperatures we see in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So here's a look at your futurecast. We're seeing that rain start to enter the region as we get into about 6 o'clock. Already possibly a little bit of ice starting to form in the tippy top of the mountains because they already have some of that colder air at their disposal. But this rain's going to move through mostly as you get through your Sunday morning. Then as we get into the actual Sunday morning when you're waking up, that's when we see some ice potential start in the plateau as well as in the mountains because we're starting to get that upper level support of colder air coming in from top to bottom. So that's going to move out of the way. We'll see things really pick up in the mountains as we get into the afternoon before they quickly move out of the way and calm down as we get into your Sunday evening and clearing out as we get into the rest of your Monday. So let's move in a little bit further. We can talk about the different warnings that we have in the area right now. The winter weather advisory actually got pushed back. It's including parts of Kentucky and southwestern Virginia. That's now going to begin at 7 a.m. Now, some of those higher elevations could be seeing upwards of 3 inches in their higher elevations once you get past about 2,500 feet. Now, there's a winter storm warning that is still going to be starting at midnight for all of these counties that are lining up the Smoky Mountains, and that's going to be because of their higher elevation. They could be starting to see some of the ice and snow as early as now and could continue through the nighttime, but things aren't really going to pick up until we get into Sunday morning. So let me show you your futurecast right now. This is the rain that's starting to rise up into the area from the south, and it's going to take over as we get into the nighttime, but it's going to stay a bit on the lighter side until we get into your Sunday morning. You see again some of that ice and snow starting to develop on the North Carolina side of the mountains, rain coming into the valley and the mountains, but it's going to stay kind of light again until we get into the hours of Sunday morning. Now, when it does show up, you can already see some rotation happening with that because the system is going to be tracking just a little bit further to our south in parts of Alabama and Georgia. So we can very clearly see the rotation that we're going to be getting from this system. You can see we're going to have some moderate rain come along with this one, a lot of rain coming down for the valley this time around. You can see a couple of stronger storms, and then you get into the plateau, you see some of that ice starting to form once you get that upper level support of colder temperatures, and that's when you can see some of that snowfall come down. So that's going to continue and really start to blow up as we get into about midday Sunday. Those colder temperatures really setting in. You can see ice and snow all along these mountains here. Seems like more so ice along the foothills and then snow in the higher elevations of the mountains. And again, a little bit happening in the plateau as well, just getting past Crossville, getting between Huntsville and La Follette, Scott and Campbell counties as well. But you hit the afternoon and it moves out of the way somewhat quickly. The entire system continues to move up the East Coast. And then as we get into your Sunday evening, we see a little bit of leftover rain and snow in upper East Tennessee, but even that moves out of the way pretty quickly as we get into the late hours of the night heading into Monday. And then Monday will continue to be a pretty clear day. We'll see high pressure for a little bit. We'll see some light clouds, but otherwise, it's going to be a pretty sunny and nice day. Now, when it comes to snowfall accumulation, things aren't really going to start to pick up until, again, we get into the hours of Sunday morning when you start to wake up. High elevations over here in the mountains, anywhere from 3 to 8 inches at the highest peaks. That's basically over 3,000 feet are when we can see some of those higher elevations. And then in the plateau, it's looking a lot lighter, and some models are actually kind of starting to trend away from seeing some of the higher snow totals in the plateau, but they could be seeing anywhere from a trace to 2 inches. Seems like we've got some higher snow when you get further down south in the valley, looking like south of Crossville and Spring City. In terms of rainfall, it's looking anywhere from a ½ inch to 1.5 inches. Some of the lighter rain staying out here in the far northern plateau as you get closer to Middle Tennessee, and some of the heavier rain happening over here. This is mostly where we're going to be seeing some of that snow, but depending on how wet that snow is going to be, it's going to be a little bit on the drier side. We're not going to get a lot of water value from that, but higher rain totals staying further in the foothills, getting further down into upper East Tennessee. So, and when we come to rain looking at the rest of the week, this is actually not the only event that we're going to see. Monday, we get some calmer conditions. Tuesday, going to get calmer as well, but there is going to be a possibility for some rain as we get after Valentine's dinner. So maybe take your rain gear just in case. And then we get into Wednesday, we see some rain chances, but Thursday is when things really start to pick up in terms of that rain. We could be getting upwards of 3 inches after this entire week, including as you get along the mountains. That's where some of the higher totals seem to be. But take a look at your full 7-day forecast. We're going to have a very cold start sitting in the 40s with that rain snow mix. And then we're going to jump into the 50s as we get into the week, rising temperatures up to nearly 70 degrees by the time we get to Thursday. But that's when that rain is going to kick in, cold front coming along with it. And then we drop down to the 40s as we get into the weekend. But it seems like temperatures are pretty quickly going to rebound.